Hello and welcome to the Solen Hive video guide. I'm your extermination expert for this journey, TyroneDurden. The Solen Hives are a low-danger content area that you can venture through in both the Trammel and Felucca facets. There are many useful goodies to acquire, a great tameable mount, and lots of decorative plants up for grabs. To begin, you must know how to get to the Solen Hives, for which there are many entrances. The first and most laborious to reach is known as the Britain Entrance. Head north from Britain and follow the path I do. If you have a mage, I recommend making a rune so you can more easily come back here for a quest later on in the guide. Next is the Minoc Vesper entrance. This is the easiest entrance to reach. Simply go to any moon gate and select Minoc. This entrance will be almost directly to the west of the moon gate. Now for Trinsic. If you have a rune to Trinsic, you can probably get here a little faster, but it is not far from the moon gate. Head north from the moon gate and cross the bridge across the river. The entrance is located west of Trinsic's main entrance. Finally, Yew! Take a moon gate to Yew and begin heading south. It's a fair walk away. Be wary of the liches that like to hang out around this entrance. I will now go over the layout and the enemies you will find within the hives. The hive itself is easily divided into 6 sections. The 4 sections corresponding to an entrance, the center which is void of hostiles, and the secret hive. Throughout the hive you will face various enemies, the most common of which being Solen workers and warriors. There are 2 spawn points for queens. It is a good idea to note these as they are needed for one of the quests that can be done down here. There are also ant lions with 4 spawn points spread pretty widely in the tunnel. 2 spawn points that will spawn 2 giant beetles each, and 1 area that will spawn 2 dread spiders. There are also 3 spots where Zoogie fungus spawns quite frequently on the ground. This is an item for 2 of the 3 quests within the tunnels, and is also found on the corpses of Solen. The center of the hive can be reached from any main entrance, and can be used to easily go from one section to another. The secret hive can only be accessed by using a green thorn on a beach area. Now on to enemies. First up, the Solen worker. These are completely non-threatening and one of the most common amongst the enemies you will find. They will always drop around 140 gold and 1 or 16 Zoogie fungus, with the larger quantity being rarer. Sometimes they also drop 1 to 2 of 1 random gem. Very rarely, they will drop the container picnic basket, which contains a wedge of cheese and a bottle of wine. Next is the Solen Warrior. Stat-wise, these guys are nothing special, but they possess an ability that has claimed my life plenty of times. Acid, blood, and spit. When at range, the warriors will spit acid at their foes. This will always deal 30 damage. When the warrior is significantly damaged, it will begin to bleed on the ground. This blood is acid, and it is lethal as all hell. You will immediately take 30 damage upon stepping upon a tile with acid, and take 30 damage for every second you stand in it. When the blood is dropped on the ground, it is not uncommon for it to take up a roughly 3x3 space. If you are attempting to flee when this happens, it is entirely possible to walk over 3 tiles of acid and instantly or damn near instantly kill yourself with 90 damage. It's very important that you move away from the warriors as soon as you strike them when their health is lower to avoid this threatening blood. For your troubles, warriors do drop a unique item. Warriors will always drop around 200 gold and 3 or 13 Zugi fungus. Usually warriors will also drop 1 to 4 of 1 gem, and or 1 to 3 low-grade magic gear. On uncommon occasions, they will also drop fire horns, and the unique item Bracelet of Binding. I will now go into how to use the Bracelet of Binding. You will need a pair of bracelets to use them. First, to use a Bracelet of Binding, you must load it with charges of Powder of Translocation. This powder is obtained through quests in the Hives. It is important you make a separate stack when loading up bracelets, as it will take all the powders in a stack. Afterwards, click the bracelet once to open the context menu and select Bind. Target the other bracelet. Now do the same with the other bracelet. Now that the bracelets are bound, give one to another player. I gave one to my pet for this test. To use the bracelet, equip it, and activate it from the context menu. The player who activates the bracelet will be transported to the other player who holds the linked bracelet. This cannot be used if one of the players is in a location that does not allow gating. The most sparse and powerful of the Solen on offer is the Queen. The Queen has importance as a kill task for one of the quests. Much like the warriors, the Queen also has the aforementioned acid-based abilities. In addition to this, queens can also lay eggs that will spawn warriors. This is an uncommon ability, as most builds can kill a queen before she has the chance to use it. The queen is also the source of another unique drop. Queens will always drop around 450 gold, 5 or 25 Zugi fungus, and 1 to 4 magic gear. Occasionally, they will also drop fire horns and slayer instruments. On somewhat rare occasions, they will drop their unique item, Crystal Ball of Pet Summoning with 4 to 6 charges. Very rarely they can also drop picnic baskets. I will now go over how to use the Crystal Ball. Much like the Bracelets of Binding, you charge the Crystal Ball with Powder of Translocation. Afterwards, use the context menu to link a pet to the Crystal Ball, much like binding 2 bracelets together. Once complete, you can either use the context menu or double-click on the Crystal Ball to summon your linked pet. The Crystal Ball has the same restrictions as the bracelets on where you may teleport your pet to you. These are Antlions, the most loot-heavy enemies of the Solen Hives, and also the strongest enemy of the Hive. They possess the ability to dig underground, then resurfacing to attack you once more. This is of little issue, and really only serves as an annoyance. They always drop around 260 gold, 1 to 5 fertile dirt, 3 random decorative bones, and 1 to 10 of one of several types of ore. They will usually drop 1 to 4 magic gear and a fragrant or peculiar seed. These seeds can be cocoa trees, cypress trees, juniper bushes, hedges, and snowdrops. On somewhat rare occasions, they will also drop fire horns, slayer instruments, and their unique drop bones of an unknown adventurer. These bones are heavy containers coming in 4 graphical varieties, and being the bones of either a rogue, bard, or mage. What bones you get correspond to what kind of loot is contained inside. Now, giant beetles. These little buggers will rocket at Paragon speeds if hit with any kind of projectile, so keep that in mind. They do not drop any loot whatsoever, but they are tameable. Giant beetles are unique in that they are the only mountable pack animal available to the player. When using as a mount, it is not recommended to have them carry any more than 300 stones, as they will become heavily fatigued and unable to move with their combined weight and yours. Unmounted, they can carry up to 1,600 stones. They can be trained up to 5 slots, so they can be made quite formidable to any tamer willing to train one. Lastly is the Dread Spiders, a fair contender with the Antlion for the most powerful enemy within the Hives. They are only located in a single location in the Hive, so it's quite easy to forget they're even there. They boast fairly decent stats, with the addition of low-level magery and poisoning. These are also tameable. They start at 3 slots, tameable up to 5. Upon death, they always drop around 300 gold and 8 spider silk. They also usually drop 1 to 3 magic gear. Now I will cover the 3 quests you can partake in within the Hives, starting with the ambitious Solen Queen quest. First, make your way into the Hive. It is fastest to reach this particular NPC by entering through the Trinsic Entrance. She is in the second section, past the Antlion. Kill any Solen along the way and pick up the Zoogie fungus they drop. You will need it later on in the quest. Talk to the ambitious queen to initiate the quest. Once you have the quest, you will be tasked with killing 5 Solen queens within the Hive. There are 2 spawn points for these, and they are quite far apart. There is one in the Trinsic section and one in the Minoc section. For this quest, it is advisable to stay in one section and simply wait for the spawns. Once you have killed 5 queens, return to the ambitious queen and talk to her. She will ask you for 50 Zoogie fungus. Once you have the 50 fungus, simply drag it on top of her to receive your reward. You will be rewarded with a bag of sending, a small amount of powder of translocation, and around 550 gold. The bag of sending comes in 4 hues. I will now go over how to use the bag of sending. Using the bag of sending is quite simple. It comes with a couple charges, but you can load it up with up to 30. After about 500 uses, the bag will become saturated and no longer hold charges, so stock up on them. To use the bag, simply double-click on it and select the item you wish to send to your bank box. You can send individual items to the box, and even stacks of items, but you cannot send containers through the bag of sending. That would be overpowered. That wraps up the Ambitious Queen quest. Onwards to the Solen Matriarch quest. Make your way in any entrance, but preferably one with an antlion on the way to the center. The Matriarch may not talk to you if you are not already friendly to the Hive, so you will need to feed her a seed. As covered earlier, antlions drop seeds fairly often. Make sure to pick up as much Zoogie fungus as possible on your way to the center. You will need 200 for the end of the quest. Once you reach the center of the Hive, talk to the Queen, or feed her a seed to start the quest. You will be tasked with killing black Solen invaders. There are many locations where you can fight these, but this section will show the directions to the Vesper location. Directions to the other locations are provided after the quest proper. It is wise to use this opportunity to stop by a barkeeper and buy 8 pitchers of water. You will need these later. Make your way to an Invader location afterwards. As they only matter during this quest, now is the time for me to cover them. Invaders in Trammel come in two variants, Warriors and Queens. Only the Queen variant spawns in Felucca, unlike their contemporaries in the Hives. These ones do not possess any special abilities. The Warrior type always drops around 190 gold, 3 or 13 Zugi fungus, and 1 to 4 of 1 gem. They also usually drop 1 to 3 magic gear. They can also drop Slayer instruments and fire horns. The Queen variant always drops around 280 gold and 4 or 16 Zugi fungus. They usually drop 1 to 3 magic gear. They can also drop Slayer instruments and fire horns. I have heard reports that Invaders can also drop picnic baskets, but I have not been able to confirm this. Moving on! Fighting these Invaders is not threatening, and you will quickly fulfill the quest requirement. It is wise to eliminate extras to pick up more fungus. Once done, make your way back to the Hive and to the center. Once back to the center, talk to the Queen again. You will now be tasked with decanting 8 gallons of water into the nearby water basins. Simply double-click on the water jugs and target the basin. Once you are done, talk to the Queen once again. She will ask you for 200 Zugi fungus. Simply drag it on top of her to complete the quest. For completing this quest, you will be rewarded with 100 powder of translocation, around 550 gold, and the Solen of the associated Hive you completed the quest for will become friendly towards you until you decide to provoke their anger again. I will now quickly go over the other locations Invaders can be found. For the Trinsic Invaders, head to Trinsic through a moon gate and head south. It's a fairly long trek, so making a rune may be advantageous. Lastly is the Britain Invaders. Arrive in Britain and head north. It is a fair bit of a ride, but this spawn spot has the most Invaders overall, so it is well worth the trip. It is located right outside the entrance of the City of Wind. Finally, moving on to the most reward-intensive quest of the Hives, the Naturalist quest. For certain rewards, you will need to bring along green thorns, but they are optional. There are many locations to find a Naturalist to start the quest, but the library in Britain has 2. Simply talk to a Naturalist to start the quest. You will be tasked with inspecting Solen nests within the Hive. While there are many paths to complete this objective, I prefer to start from the Yew Entrance. Once you reach a nest, you will hear your character make an aha, and your journal will note that you are studying the area. After about 30 seconds, your objective for this nest will be complete. and you can move on to the next. From the Yew Nest, it is a short jaunt over to the Trinsic Nest. This nest has a queen and workers nestled within, so be ready to fight while you wait to finish the objective. These objectives can also be finished while hidden, so thieves can easily complete this quest as well. From this nest, I prefer to recall out to the Britain entrance to save time. In Felucca, this is not an option. The nest of the Britain section is very easy to reach from the entrance. This nest also has no spawn points, so this is a great spot to stop for a break. Once done, find your way to the Minoc section. The Minoc nest is fairly close to the entrance. This nest, like the Trinsic one, has a queen and workers awaiting. Prepare to fight. Once you have finished the objective for this nest, you may return to the Naturalist if you wish to receive a pink, aqua, or magenta seed as a reward. For the white, black, and fire red seeds, there is one more step. With all 4 nests inspected, make your way to a beach. The easiest one to reach is south of Minoc Moongate, past the graveyard. Once you reach the beach, use a green thorn and wait for a bit. After a while, a hole will appear. Double-click on the hole and you will be transported to the secret tunnel. At the end of this tunnel is the final optional objective. Complete your notes on this nest, and then you can return to the Naturalist. The Naturalist quest has a total of 112 rewards. There are 6 different colors of seeds you can receive, each with a various amount of breeds they can be. Fire red, pink, magenta, and aqua come in the 17 classical varieties, with the addition of the flower cactus and vanilla for a total of 19 each. Black and white seeds come in the peculiar varieties, with there being 2 sets of hops, 2 hedges, and 2 types of cypress tree, for a total of 18 each. The particular breeds you can get are listed in the image shown. That concludes my guide on the Solen hives. I am TyroneDurden, Over-Archivist, wishing you a fantastic day. They glow in the dark. You can see them when you're riding. You just trample them. That's what you do.